All hail Liberia Hill, this glorious land of liberty shall alone be ours. What a great way to start up your day, a pleasant way to say good morning. I'm always grateful when I'm up singing the dawn of a new day. God have given us another 24 hours. The question is, what have you to do with your 24 hours? Today's Thursday, the 25th day of September. The year remains the same, 2025. We are grateful to be counted amongst the living. If it wasn't for God on our side, what some of us would have been today? But we are grateful, and today's edition happens to be the maiden edition for my co-pilot, and so we're going to be teaming up together on this program, the Tuesdays and Thursdays edition of the Positive Show. As usual, we normally take the flight schedules from the Rivers International Airport. We bring you the Central Bank of Nigeria exchange rate, the weather forecast, vehicular traffic movement in Monrovia and its environs, health tip, security alerts, our package, including our commercial commitment. That figures up to 9 o'clock, at which time, 9 today, we're going to be playing host to someone very special. Mr. Samuel Dean, he's the executive director of NCD. He's going to be here talking more about persons living with disability, the challenges and prospects so far. But I'm going to press here to get the intro of my colleague. Fresh day morning. How you doing, my brother?
Good morning, Rufus, and thank you again. Amen. It's a pleasure coming back to the radio, and I'd like to say thank you for such a privilege of an opportunity. And I'm back, happy, loving to do what I love to do.
Yeah. You know, all glory and praises belong to God.
Indeed.
You know, what he does is that he creates the avenue and where he places you when you are opportune to be a help to somebody.
Yeah.
You must extend that helping hands. That's what life is all about. So joining us is a privilege. It's an honor to have an astute colleague joining us to do what we are called to do, holding our factor constant. As usual, we say we owe no allegiance to any political party. We are on the path of ethical standards where we do ethical broadcast here. We engage when the information is out. We engage those who are involved, the accused and that of the accuser. We balance our story and just all about good journalism, and that what is in our society today. You know, some of our friends are breaching all of the ethical standards.
Yeah.
But it's good to have, you know, I mean, just for Ghana, and that's all about. You got to tell the people all those small things. And how was it? How was the studies?
Oh, it was awesome. It was wonderful, and I mean, as a journalist, I would encourage every Liberian, especially young people. I mean, education is so critical
Hmm.
for our growth and progress. And so, uh, you love the radio, you love journalism, but don't forget yourself. It's good to follow your education. It's good to advance yourself. And but Ghana was wonderful. I mean, the experience was awesome. Going to school in Liberia from grade school to college, and then doing your advanced study in your area of specialty in another country is something that many young people want to do. And I'm honored, I'm happy, I'm grateful to God for such an opportunity. But again, one thing I like to stress is that never overlook it at the beginning,
Hmm.
because wherever you are, try as much as possible to put in efforts to work so that tomorrow when the opportunity shows up, you can be ready to step up to it. But again, though it was lonely in Ghana,
Hmm.
studying abroad with our family, but it was also, intense and competitive. The journey was worth going for, and we are grateful to be back to give back to our country.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to sit on this platform. To contribute to the growth and progress of our nation. Like you said, this platform is not about yellow journalism. It's about us saying the truth,
Mhm.
and that's the essence of journalism. And I'm happy Rufus to sit with you and let's talk national issues.
Oh yeah, it's also very important that we add value to what we do. You know, journalism in Liberia now. Sometimes you feel worried because of the trend others are taking. You know, the morale, the value that was once given to the profession. You no longer feel it. You no longer see it, all because of the malpractices. Be it, we're gonna do what we are called to do. That I always say to people, the good ones are always listening,
Yes.
and posterity will judge you for what you do. So if you think that you can use the microphone to denigrate somebody because you are getting a handout for some corner,
Mm,
well, there's life after the microphone.
certainly.
Oh, yeah. So let's rumble through quickly and taking our flight now, our drive to the Rabat International Airport to touch base on the flight schedules. We begin with Rabat, there at the Rabat International Airport. Our first flight here is the Ethiopian Airlines flight ET942 from Freetown, Sierra Leone. Will arrive at the Rabat International Airport at 10:05 this morning, while Air Peace flight P47536 for Accra, Ghana will touch grounds at the Rabat International Airport at 5:35 this evening, and followed by Kenya Airways. Kenya Airways flight KQ508 from Accra, Ghana will arrive at the Rabat International Airport at 5:40. And lastly, for Rabat, at the Rabat International Airport, we have um, Askar Airlines. Askar Airlines flight that's KP20 from Accra, Ghana will arrive at the Rabat International Airport at 5:50 this evening. Let's go now to departures from the Rabat International Airport. Ethiopian Airlines take off from the Rabat International Airport at 11:05 this morning for Addis Ababa, while we have Askar, Askar Airlines. Askar will take off from the Rabat International Airport at 6:15 for Accra, Ghana. And lastly, for departures from the Rivers International Airport, we have KN Airways. KN Airways flight KQ509 will depart the Rivers International Airport at 6:40 this evening for Accra, Ghana. So we now go to the BBC to provide us the weather forecast for today. The weather forecast for today, we always look up to the BBC. The BBC is reporting this morning that we have 28 degrees Celsius. It's going to be thundershower. thundery shower and a gentle breeze. And later on, we will have 22 degrees Celsius. And let's look for humidity. Humidity is 94%, while we have visibility very moderate. So we now move on to the prices of gasoline and that of fuel on the Liberian market. Fuel is sold for 865 Liberian dollars, while gasoline is sold for $805. So if you want to go and get your gasoline, that's pump price I'm calling. Okay, you can go and get it. But some of the jerry can guys around the area, they may sell for 780, some say 765, or because they want how they got their product, they want to go in fast. Oh, so we move on now quickly to um, our health tip. We always encourage you to drink water. Drink as much as you can. When you drink water, it helps a lot. It helps your organs to function well. Please avoid the intake of energy drinks. They are not healthy for you. Instead of them adding, giving you energy, they are subtracting from you, and they are causing serious, serious problems for your health. Young men avoid sexual enhancers. Yes, a lot of you, you love those things. You are causing a serious problem. That's why a lot of people, you understand that you come down with heart issue, your pressure goes up, and there are times in which, because of the substances you take in, you develop kidney stone and all the kind of stuff. So you need to avoid sexual enhancers. It is not healthy for you as a young man. So basically, the vehicular traffic movement, like we always encourage you, for those of you coming from the Bourgeois Island area, we understand that yesterday was very tough. The entire Bourgeois Island was flooded. Yeah, cars were swimming. Cars were all in the water. People had their cars. A friend of mine I rode with, and he said someone brand new vehicle got spoiled on yesterday. The water went in it and it got spoiled. A lot of vehicles got spoiled on yesterday due to the heavy downpour of rain and the flood that was experienced on yesterday. And some homes were also gutted by flood. You know, people lost their belongings. But we want to say, let us all do this thing together. Stop building in the waterways. Stop building in the waterways. A lot of you feel it in the swamp. You think that you are doing it, yes. But mind you, the swamp is very healthy for us. It plays a major, major, major role in our health, our environment. If you want to know, the mangrove, they absorb a lot of things. All the bar anything you see passing around the place, the smoke and thing, the mangrove, they absorb them. Hmm? Come on, stop filling in the swamp. The wetland is not wasted land that you will go and fill because you want to expand your land. No, that's why we are experiencing this hard rate of flooding situation all over the place, all because of our own habits. We block the waterway, and the water have no way to exit. Come on, we're gonna make its own way. That's why we are experiencing the flood that we now experience in the various communities, and especially around the EFW area. Before reaching the EFW Junction area, those that are living around the SC Cooper way there, those gigantic buildings that were placed there, those schools, the community dwellers are feeling the pinch from it because, mind you, they block the waterway, and all that is happening now is the families and relatives along that corridor are going through the pain of flooding when it rains. Come on, the place gets flooded. So with that being said, we say many thanks to the Liberian National Police for your swiftness in responding to traffic activities. In the morning, we noticed that there are lots of police presence along the Tottenham Boulevard, so we appreciate that. But we want you to be very proactive. Go along the highways because you have vehicles. You can't complain about vehicle again. You got vehicles to go along the highway so that to minimize the kind of accident that occurred there. When a vehicle breaks down there, make sure that that vehicle is parked off the road, because most of the defective vehicles, especially container trucks that plow that route, when they break down, they just remain red there. So when the police actually patrolling along the highway, it's going to help us to minimize some of the accident. When you see somebody over speeding, make sure to get them to pay, get them ticket, so that they minimize the speed and drive in accordance with the speed limit in those corridors. So if you are coming from the Beansville area, build yourself for the traffic congestion. This morning is not as tense as it is doing Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Today is a little bit free, but it's going to get tough along the way. Brace yourself as the construction of the overhead bridge is about to kickstart. You who are along the Tottenham Boulevard, you got to brace yourself for the traffic congestion. All right. So with that being said, V, how's your end? How's your community?
Yes, I mean, my community is awesome. I mean, the sneaker terrain, especially the FE community where I do reside, is it's quite quiet. I mean, I mean, more like serene. It is a place to be. I mean, people around that place, around that vicinity. I mean, they are responsible people. I like to say that way.
Hey man,
Yeah,
pretty your
they're
community, man.
responsible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not encountered any trouble because the people there are responsible people, and in terms of criminal rate, for the most part, it's not
It's
high, it's
been
very low,
minimized. Okay.
very low, and so yeah, I mean things are on course. People, I mean, are going about a number of business, number of activities. Yes, just that I'm fortunate to be in a community where I'm not seeing flooding. But when you mention flooding, I think it's a very real issue
Hmm.
for people across, people on the bourgeois island, and it's a major issue for our country. And when you talk about people building in waterways,
Hmm.
and that's the main thing for some of these things. I mean, it has environmental effects. Like you talk about the mangroves, and we see that in our country, people are building because I mean, in the name of they want to build, they are looking for land space. Yeah, I think we should consider environmental impact while we building, and the EPA too must look out
They
for
need to be
these.
proactive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
must look out for these violations. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go to the Facebook page and check out some of our friends who are following.
Okay.
Sylvester Nikki Bestman is following. We appreciate you, Sylvester. And Jonathan S. Su Senior. I hope I got the name right. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your following. Share the show. Indeed is a perfect collabo. Rufus and Viney here
Mhm.
this morning. And
Yes.
henceforth, we're going to be teaming up on the show Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're going to be here diving into issues of national concern. There are a lot of things happening in the country over the period of time. Of recent, we've seen arson attack, and there are word of voice. You listen to people, oh yes, and the other person, people are pointing, accusing fingers, and this is something that our country, we need to be very careful how we go about pointing fingers. Though you have people who are politically charged, but yet and still, the security apparatus have to do their investigation to come up with findings. Let's say, for instance, if you went on an accident scene and you saw somebody in a pool of blood, you as a journalist, you just go, oh, the man died. Come on. Where did you get the report from? Seeing the man in the pool of blood, that doesn't mean that he has died. What happened here is that you need a medical report. A
Mhm.
doctor should go and do a check on that person and pronounce the person dead before you come up.
Certainly.
But in our country, as soon as we see some, oh, we're ready to come up with funding. So this is something that is very troubling. And the media plays a pivotal role. The last time I was saying this here. We now, as media practitioners, we need to be very careful how we pass on information because the people believe in us. Whatever we say on our various platforms is what they run with. And we control the discourse.
Yes.
Whatever a journalist or whatever someone will say on the radio,
Mhm.
that's what the people take to make decisions. We are the fourth estate. So we need to be very careful how we pass on information. And mind you, misinformation and disinformation is prevalent in our society today. People don't care because I'm associated with a political party and I'm glued to that station that propagates the ideology of that party. So whatever they say, I run with it.
Mhm.
And you are doing yourself harm because some of the information these institutions pass on, they are not factual. And at the end of the day, you plunge yourself into situation. We saw this happening during the elections. There were misinformation passed on, miscounting of numbers,
Mhm.
and there were people jubilating all over the place. At the end of the day, the reality shows that X, Y, and Z was providing misinformation. Yet still, people have not learned the lesson yet. See,
Yeah. Yeah. And Rufus, I do agree with you because it's becoming a serious problem for our country. And people who are not journalists, who want to believe, the people who carry the title as journalists, as media people. So you come with information to help the public, not to harm them. And if you are providing information that will obviously harm the public, then we tend to question your credibility. And like you talk about media people spreading false information, it's becoming alarming in our country.
mhm.
It's becoming so alarming to the point where uh, people are not even taking the break that they are making mistakes. You know, so some institutions give other information, and sometimes you check this information out, they are actually wrong. But those very institutions, instead of coming back to rectify their errors, realize that they are wrong. Some of them will not do it. They will not come back to say, "Oh, I'm sorry. The information we provided was an error." Or so many of them will not do it. I think it's becoming so alarming. We, as media people, like you said, our role is to inform the public. And if we are not informing the public and we are providing this information, then you know what else the people will do? I mean, who exactly are they going to trust? I mean, we should be the last, gatekeeper when
Mhm.
it comes to information filtering. And I tend to reason, and I think um, much has to be done in terms of regulations when it comes to the media space. The PEO has a role to play.
Mhm.
Um, um, because, you've been through the rank and file of journalism, and if you see people just hold recorder, just hold camera, and tackle different TV and just running around the screen. Around the media landscape, around the public space, okay, with different TV and different information. They're broadcasting different set of information. And sometimes you tend to listen and this is why people bring the entire media as not up to the task because of few bad elements. And I think the PEO should do more in terms of looking at how we license people to come into the profession. It's not about witch hunting, it's not about targeting people, but it's about serving you know the relevant bar. Mind you, this is a noble profession.
Mhm.
And the lawyers envy and protect their profession so much so that any Tom, Dick, and Harry cannot run into the profession and call themselves lawyer. Now, I was reading something before coming to the radio about an error from the Chief Justice who appointed his son. I'm just trying to bring that
Mhm. Mhm.
as a picture. Who appointed his son as associate magistrate at the PJ Magisterial Court. Now, that person is not a lawyer. Civil society groups are raising the alarm, and people are raising the point. It is to say that this is how much people respect and believe their profession, and they don't take it for granted. So anybody who's coming into the profession and you are non-lawyer, they raise the red flag. How much more about us in the media? It's about time we raise red flags on people who are not up to the task, because these are the people who are helping to spread misinformation. I mean, you are a very professional person. You know far too well the ABC of journalism. You will not do such. Okay. I mean, people who are doing these things maybe for some other sinister motive, we need to bring it to book. We need to, name and shame. I mean, the PO has to do her part.
The last time I had a conversation with some hierarchy of the PUL, and I was told that there are a series of documents they
Mhm.
have written
Mhm.
and passed on to the legislators so that these some of these things that we are talking
Mhm.
be legislated so that the PUL can have a say. Because mind you, the PUL quote unquote is a toothless bulldog. That's for fact. Because in terms of regulation, the PUL doesn't regulate any institution around here. Why it does, it only controls some of its members that are with these institutions.
Mhm.
But mind you, how many radio stations or television stations
Mhm.
are registered with the Press Union of Liberia?
Mhm.
And the power that is given to the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism, some of these power needs to be relinquished to the PUL. Or, mind you, if, for instance, Ducle wants to open a radio station,
Mhm.
he must have gone through all of the procedures, gone to the Press Union of Liberia to obtain his not lesson, but right now we don't have lessons in our country. So he must have gone to the Press Union of Liberia, like accreditation, proving that yes, indeed, he have met all of the criteria set up for opening a radio station.
Yeah.
Then he proceeds with that document to the information ministry,
Mhm.
and the information ministry attests, yes, indeed,
Yeah.
he pay whatever fees
Mhm.
that is required.
Mhm.
He proceeds to the LTA to obtain the frequency.
Yeah.
But now you only have the information ministry, some of the people who open radio station most often they are friends to the BB people,
Yeah.
so they don't go through the referral procedures. What they normally do here is that, oh my man, I come open my radio station. Oh, okay, okay, yeah, say you Palestine, okay, just something. In other countries, you will have people verifying in the first place, is that place suitable for radio station?
Mhm.
Mind you, we have electromagnetic waves.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
thing that we sit on here and talking, it putting out a very strong electromagnetic wave.
Yeah.
In Ghana, you don't see towers all over the place. That's one thing we have not come. The LTA and other institutions have not even the EPA.
Mhm.
They are not regulating. You will find towers like even we are also part of this thing. Towers are not to be in residential areas because they put out high electromagnetic waves.
And not many of us are aware of these things. Not many of us are aware. And Rufus, you are right. Not many of us are aware, and it's becoming a problem. It's becoming a very big problem for our country because, come to think about, people installing these different instruments in residential areas, and looking at the impact it's going to have on the community. How many of us are doing are trying to assess to know, for example, what is the average effect of these things on the lives of our people?
Mhm.
We're not checking. So we just build I mean, across the city because, like you said, we have our friends who will give us the authority to do some of these things that we are doing. And I think it's a very big problem. Um, I think stronger institutions, we need strong institutions to actually work for our people.
Yeah, the President of
Strong
Liberia,
institutions.
yes,
I mean, we need a strong institution.
the President of Liberia needs to push harder.
Yeah.
Needs to push harder, so that some of the power that the information ministry has
Mhm.
can be passed on to her, because you cannot be there. The only time you hear the President of Liberia when somebody have gone outside of the bus, or they come in clash with somebody,
Mhm.
and the person take them to court, or some security minor issues
Mhm.
come up, then the president come out to issue a statement, and or coming out to say, oh look, it's a calm down on the media and stuff like that. But forgetting to know that you have people who are now willing to be regulated.
Yeah.
But they are in your space.
Yeah.
Like we talked the last time I did an article I posted on my Facebook page, that journalists should be lessened. Journalists should be lessened in this country. It is not a form of coming down on people or restricting people freedom of speech or so. But like you said, the medical fee,
Mhm.
they issue lesson.
Yes.
You have the lawyers,
Yes.
they issue lesson.
Yes.
Other profession, why not journalists?
Mhm.
And the proliferation of media institutions in this country is another serious issue, because, mind you, everybody owns social media words again.
Mhm.
Everybody owns some kind of TV.
Mhm.
Professionalism is never at its best any longer.
Yeah.
And these are the same people who are breaching the ethical standards of the profession, are being called by the same old people who should be regulating. You and I sit here and we have this kind of conversation that is very educative. We are not raining insults. We are not breaching the ethical standards of journalism.
Mhm.
You are not regarded. They won't look your way.
Yeah.
But mind you, if you sit here in the morning, rain insults, and say a lot of things that are not ethical, you are one of the best.
Mhm.
You will be called on the side because of the same old, because these people find themselves in the web
Mhm.
of what this person is saying,
Yeah.
but the manner and form in which the person is saying is not for the public consumption.
Yeah.
You're reading insults,
Yeah.
using the F words, and they don't care. And these are people our society hail, calling the best journalists. You got people inciting
Mhm.
people to carry on violence.
Mhm.
Yet and still, nothing is done about it. And these are people that we hear in the society. Sometimes I ask myself, how did we get here? How did we get here? How did the profession, this noble profession that we so cherish, when we were growing up, we grew admiration for, when we saw professionalism at its best.
Yeah.
But today, when a young man or a young woman pass around, venturing all our profession, they can't make it. The next thing they look for microphone, and phone make it so easy, they cell phone. You go to one or two press conferences, the next thing they call themselves journalists.
Yeah.
You who have gone through the ranks and file, and you believe in the ethical standards, you practice ethically. Come on, you are not recognized by the people who should recognize it. They go for people who are just ruthless and just do all sort of things. These are people to go for.
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, Rufus, we honestly saying it together, and I think it's very important that we continue to see these things because the best bet is to raise awareness on it, and this is exactly what we are doing. I mean, it's not just about the people who are making the necessary pollutions around here on the airways. I mean, come to think about our children
Mhm.
who are listening to radios. Uh, what values are we living with them? And what values are we impacting in them? A child comes home, or he wakes up from bed, he listens to the radio. The only thing he gets is one journalist insulting a politician and just using words, like you said, profane languages. In his mind, he thinks that, well, what
Yes.
is coming from the radio?
It's
It's
right.
good. It's a sound. It's okay. So he goes to school. He or she goes to school and try to display what he heard on the radio. And this is why, I mean, it's having a trickle down effect on the next generation. I mean, this is a serious problem, and this is why we are saying. I mean, and I would like to emphasize that we should focus on building stronger institutions. That we ensure that regulation is a very critical aspect of our activities in this country. Because if we can regulate this sector, if we can regulate this profession, trust me, we will raise another group of bunch of unprofessional people
Mm-hmm.
who see insults, who will see insults in fulfilled languages and blackmailing people as the way out, and they will follow that path.
Mm-hmm.
We must institute relevant roadblocks that you can't sit on the radio and just use any language. You can call because you have a smartphone, you put data on it, you just go live and you just use or there is every language, even the subject verb agreement is not holding. Yeah, I mean, we are actually hurting the young people, the children. They listen to radio. Oh yes, they listen to radio. I mean, come to think about the impression we leave on the minds of our friends coming from outside.
Mm-hmm.
People in the diplomatic circle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes. I mean, their narration of our country is quite different.
Different.
They see us as a group of people who are not serious, who are not looking, you know, the right way, who are not thinking straight. And it's actually sad. And I think we will continue to emphasize. I mean, um, you can be a better journalist, but stay ethical, or stay professional. You don't have to blackmail somebody to get nickel or down. I mean, that's not journalism. And we encourage the people, the model unit of all journalists in this country, to ensure that you make this profession, I mean, the best. You need to help, as we are saying it. You also need to put your feet to the ground. And let's try as much as possible to ensure that we have standards. I mean, we continue to see this thing over and over and again. And I think our words should be backed by actions.
Mm-hmm.
We should back these words by actions. I mean, if people transgress ethically, they should be punished.
Oh yeah, there
There
must
should
be
be
some set of
disincentives.
punishment. Yeah.
There should be disincentive for journalists who sit on the radio and just use all kinds of languages and awkward languages. There should be disincentives. There should be disincentive for people who write stories of facts against people character and the only thing I mean we are so God have mercy. Yeah, the profession is such a way that people tend to hide behind the pen and the microphone to say press freedom, press freedom. When you damage some other character, you read bad story, label, you say stuff, slander people character and write stuff about people. And when these people try to take actions through the court system, we say, oh, the journalist being persecuted. Violation of press freedom. There's this, we've got to find the sympathy line and try to call public sentiment.
And most of the people who come up with that, they are not even willing to be a member of the Press Union of Liberia. But when they fall into transgression, then they say, "Oh, it's a calm down on the media.
Calm down the media.
It's a calm down on the media."
Fight against. But meanwhile, the profession calls for accuracy.
Yeah,
it calls for balance.
Yeah.
It calls for clarity. You don't come to the radio and with nothing against. No strong evidence. You just say things against people, slander people.
And this is something for our creed as a journalist. They say, I believe that clear thinking
Mm-hmm.
and clear statement,
Mm-hmm.
accuracy, and fairness are fundamental to good journalism. I believe that a journalist should write only what he holds in his heart to be true.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that suppression of the news for any consideration other than the welfare of the society is indefensible. I believe that no one should write as a journalist what he would not say as a gentleman. You see,
Yes. Yes.
we're seeing these things happening.
Yes. 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 I mean, you come to think about it. I mean, you. I mean, we first will have a long way to go. We can really hope that, yeah, we have a long way to go. Honestly, we have a long way to go. We have a very long way to go. We can only hope that, I mean, we can you know, redefine the minds of people who are aspiring to be journalists. I mean, especially, I mean, we can start from the schools. I mean, the president have to institute, I mean, maybe a measures where, I mean, we now have, so that we arrest this situation hands down. You know, go to the Vera Press Club, try to reorient, you know, the young people, give them different, you know, steps on how to become a professional journalist. Because if we don't do that, I mean, a whole batch of people are going to run into the floodgate of error and thinking that biomorphing people
Is the way.
is the way out. You know, and and this is also a problem for our country. We have people who don't have thick skins in positions of trust because they are the ones encouraging these things. Oh yeah, there is this patron and client mentality,
Mhm.
patron and client mentality, where somebody somewhere, you know, maybe an allegation comes up and you are afraid. I mean, I'm trying to bring a picture where why these things are happening because there's some way somehow givers. People are giving out, and the moment you stop giving, the people say, okay, there is something happening. This is why he stopped giving. So let's deal with it. You get me? So we should also look at it from the other end. You know, people who are in position of trust, I mean, should exhibit the best character.
And they are aiding and abetting these kinds of
These kind of
attitudes.
Yeah, because now if you have a clean sheet, I mean, why must you, I mean, succumb to unnecessary threats for a journalist? I agree that some people don't love their names to be in the media for some other various reasons. But again, beyond the scene, there are some of them who are also guilty of these things. So we should shine light on the corrupt aspects of our public officials. Because if people are too corrupt, then the patron-client mentality comes in. Then they become the patron, the journalist become the client. And, you know, and somebody will sit on the radio and say, "I'm in my interest." And, you know, oh yeah, I'm in my interest. Oh, you've heard that?
Oh yeah, many times.
Yeah. I mean, much as we are naming and shaming the ills within the profession, we are naming and shaming people who are doing the wrong thing. We should also, you know, use the reflect and shine light on the people who are also giving because of their shady deeds. So you see somebody with boldness, what I need to go. That is to say, you and myself, as soon as we have a very concrete evidence to talk about a serious issue about a public official, and then maybe we try to do the B part of the journalism, balance the story, we contact the person. Maybe the person is somehow their hands is in the cookies jar. You hear the person telling you what I need to go. You know when you carry that, I get my friend there. I mean, do you get? I have my friends there. He's telling you that I got people in my pocket. I got people that are controlling the media. So it also has a tendency of discouraging people who want to do good journalism too.
And this is also in line, it just brought to my attention the fight against drugs. It just brought to my attention the fight against drugs because The peddlers will say, "Well, winner, wait till you carry me. You carry me instead of you taking a small thing and go. Or let me pick up the phone. You pick up the phone, call the bosses.
Yeah.
You the layman now who did the arrest. My
Mhm.
man, I'm interested. Let that man go.
Mhm.
Let that man go. So at the end of it,
Mhm.
the society is turning out to be what it is because a lot of us are not sincere.
Yeah.
And integrity is doing the right thing even when others are not around. But we follow this as every business. Oh, when the person here will show that we are loyal and
Mhm.
something, and when the person turn their back, we will go back to our same old thing.
Mhm.
So this is about time that we begin with ourselves.
Mhm.
When we begin with ourselves,
Mhm.
now the world around us, people around us, the mind will be developed. Like I always say, when the minds are developed, the eyes will appreciate the works of the hands.
Yeah.
The media plays a pivotal role
Mhm.
in the development of this country.
Mhm.
If we will continue, nobody said people should be praise thinker,
Mhm.
but let us be ethical in our reportage.
Yeah. Yeah.
If the government is carrying on this development and you notice some malfeasance in it,
Mhm.
do your investigation and come up with the findings.
Mhm.
You don't have to bambo that whole thing that you characterize the whole thing to be a trust. That's what I said to somebody. There were a lot of good things the former leadership did,
Mhm.
the past leadership did.
Mhm.
They were not flagged out the way they should because
Mhm.
the mindset of the people, they were more like combative,
Mhm.
waiting to respond and not flagging out those
Mhm.
positive things
Mhm.
that they were doing.
Mhm.
So when they came to the realization that, oh, we have done all of these good things, but the people don't know about it,
Mhm.
it was too late.
Mhm.
So those that were in the opposition used the weakness
Mhm.
as their own strength
Mhm.
to infiltrate. They made sure to point out all of the bad things. So now we hear our friends all around the place that our time. I hate to hear that. Liberia is for you and I.
Mhm.
And the media plays a pivotal role. If we as media practitioners are not providing the basic information
Mhm.
that the people need, that's why I always say to people, information is as important as food, water, shelter, and medication.
Mhm.
So if the people are not adequately fed with the information, what happens? The one with the misinformation.
Yeah.
That's why you see misinformation and disinformation is at a higher peak in our country because those who should be providing the timely information, they are reneging.
Mhm.
So those who are their opponent are using that means
Mhm.
to fill the minds of the people to turn against them.
Mhm.
Let's take for instance, you have somebody addressing the country on key national issues. You're responding to your critics using invectives. Come on. You should be providing the information so that the people get to know that this information that XYZ provided was false.
Mhm.
And this is the right information. You gave me all of the data,
Mhm.
getting all of the details. People will understand. So, yes, misinformation and disinformation will never have any space. But you sit back, you hold fast to the information, you're not wanting to hear somebody speak about things, then you come out to be combative. No, you must feed the people with timely information. Always get them busy. Let them get to know. Vani sits here. Before Vani leaves, Vani may have done something that will trickle the attention of the public. People will not talk about it. Vani himself will not talk about it. But at the end of the day, somebody will come out and spark up tension and say, oh, they may not did it here because of this. Then Vani, the time he had to educate the people on why he did what he did, no, he did not. But he waited for somebody to come and speak up before he come to bring out clarity. But misinformation runs as fast I mean, as fast, the good ones. Take for instance, we said on the radio, now open the line, you will not even have more people calling. Like when someone sits on the radio and really insults and saying the worst things, unethical things. This is how our society has turned out to be.
Mhm. Mhm.
This is what our society has turned out to be. So we as journalists, we who are still around in a good posture, we need to speak out. We need to say these things and not to hold back. That the people think no. Because the next generation will suffer the brunt of what our actions are today. What we are suffering from now, our forefathers, that was a seed that is sown for us.
Mhm.
So we now are bearing the brunt of their actions.
Mhm.
So this is about time that we will hold the bull by its horn and not to hold back.
Yeah, yeah, sure, Rufus. The fire incident. Have you been following sporadic fire incident across our country? I understand the fire service should be at the lookout today.
Mhm.
They should be providing some updates. I mean, reasons and situations surrounding fire across our country. Uh, 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 was it earlier yesterday, Wednesday morning, when the former president
David,
went
I think
home?
day before yesterday,
Was it the Wednesday?
because that the 3 year, yeah, day before
Okay.
yesterday.
Yeah. When his home got a fire, and yeah, there have been series of fire incidents across our country. I've been wondering why these things are happening. I know sometimes it's as a result of our own negligence, but more importantly, when you see these things, leaving the ordinary people, leaving the communities, now, making moves to places like people, who have everything it takes,
Mhm.
who have fire extinguisher in their houses, and it stands to reason that this is a national, emergency. You remember fire. It's not a new thing to our country. You
Mhm.
remember the Banga situation before
Mhm.
this government came to power, when the tankers exploded, that fire that led to the death of many people. Even this administration, during this administration, the former speaker, the House
Yeah, it's all got that fire.
got a fire. And before the former president incident took place, before his fire incident took place, the chief of, the
NSA
NSA
boss.
boss, Johnson,
Yeah.
had a situation at his residence. Now, the former president experienced that situation too. I mean, for me, I like to look at trend. The trend of things happening. It should ring a bell to policymakers. Hey, what exactly we are not doing that we need to do? To, if not eradicate, but try as much
To
as possible to
minimize.
minimize these things. You know, it's becoming so alarming. Is it that we we come to power and we are given the chance to make decisions, to make policies that will help institutions to become better, and we fail to do it? And in the end, it turns to haunt us tomorrow. Is it the context of what we're seeing today, or is it that people are just being reckless in the sense on how they handle their appliances, current, the different devices in the house that has a propensity to enact fire? Is it that they are being very reckless towards that, or are we reneging on education when it comes to how we ought to use our different appliances? Because the fire service should have a role to play
And this is where
on
the fire
educating
service should come
people,
on. Yeah.
on how to use the different things in our houses. I mean, there's a gap. This is why we are seeing the level of problem we see in our country, the level of destruction. I'm not saying fire does not take place in other advanced societies. But I really wish these things, happen in other countries. It's not as the way we see in our country of recent. I mean, we have neighboring countries. We don't hear much about sporadic fire incidents, fire targeting, top officials, and I'm not saying they don't have their own. They do have their own situation. The point I'm trying to bring home is ours is becoming so concerning to the point where um, it's affecting. I mean,
Not just the ordinary
not just the
people.
ordinary, but major actors in our country. It should be a call for concern. Up to present, if we were in a very serious country, up to present, we should know far too well the cause of some of these fires. But trust me, Rufus, between me and you, if you just ask, they'll tell you we are still investigating. The fire service is investigating, the police is investigating. We are always investigating serious fire
And you
issues.
can have a funding.
We don't have a findings. Even when we have a findings, we don't follow up on these findings.
To politicize
We
it.
politicize it. And the recent situation has been so much so politicized that we don't know the cause of the fire. People in the opposition are throwing jabs, are throwing hands, pointing accusing fingers at the regime of orchestrating, the fire in at the former president's home. And some people are laying blame on the fire service. And it was calculated attempt, to delay and the fire, had this huge damage.
Mhm.
I mean, there should be a meeting of the minds around this fire situation. Else, we will go money. It might be one of the serious offices in this country that might face. I mean, unthinkable. So we don't hope for that. We just have to, be aware.
Yes, my little man understanding when it comes to electricity.
Mm.
The Commerce Ministry need to stand up for this.
Okay.
We have a lot of substandard materials coming to the country.
Okay.
Believe me, get some of these substandard wires that's sold in our on our market. Hmm? You take that wire, just place it in the sun for a few minutes or just for an hour. You will see the entire wire will be corroded and it turns to dust. These are the kind of products our electricians go and buy, the substandard wires. That's why the Commerce Ministry has her own role to play. They how they call themselves, the fire service have her own role to play in this. Now, if the Commerce Ministry is coming down on those importers who are bringing substandard materials in the country, definitely it will minimize the sale of these kind of things because people will go for the quality. People now building their houses, they're building their homes, the business areas. You hire a technician, electrician to wire your home. This man goes to the market and looking for the very cheap wire to buy. And there are grades of wires.
Mhm.
So when you get the grade of wire, the reference grade of wire, I think number 10, people no longer going for the value,
Mhm.
the quantity.
Mhm.
You understand? They're no longer going for the value, they're going for quantity. So at the end of it, this man wired this home. Now, it is advisable for some of you who have air conditioner, all the appliances at your homes.
Mhm.
When LEC goes, when the current goes, make sure to unplug all of these appliances because some of the homes have stayed over time and the wires have corroded and all that kind of stuff. So the transformer, the time that current will go for, the transformer have it left like few seconds. So when the current returns, Why it does is send the immediate current account to a send it first before regulating after a few seconds. So when that force comes and you have air conditioning stay plugged in the wall, what happens? It's going to spark up fire because the amount of current that should go in that air conditioner to power it is more. You have all kind of things, you got all of you kind of design and stuff like that. It's spark up fire. You're not there. That's why it is always advisable that you cut all of your appliances off, put your breaker in the neutral position. Do not leave the TV in the wall. Do not leave the air conditioner plug in the socket. Do not leave the tape, all the kind of things, because at the end of it, when current returns, it becomes disastrous. So we blame it on, we try to politicize things. And we heard that we still yet to verify that evening current went. Okay. Because we listened to a testimony from one of the community dwellers. So when the current returned, they were like, this guy said he saw the smoke over the house of the former president from the backside. So they got concerned. So later on, they saw the security running down the beach to collect sand and stuff like that. Who knows? So this whole thing now, it's prejudicial now.
Yeah.
People have already come up with findings. So come on, me. If even the fire service come up to say, okay, this was what occurred, it is already being politicized. People will not see it from that angle. So now to minimize some of these kinds of things so that things do not just go all ahead and being politicized, we must be engaging. Commerce Ministry make sure that quality materials come into the country. Make sure quality materials come into the country, and do the fire service make sure to carry on these awarenesses. Go around and informing people what kind of grade of wire to buy when they are wiring their homes or their business area. Because at the end of it, it falls down to your own life. When people buy substandard wires around here and wire their homes, fire sparker, fire service, how equipped are you to respond adequately? Then you have all of the homes built in the alley and all kind of stuff. No pathway to reach to those kind of homes. People get lost. So these are things that we should look at. We shouldn't just politicize things.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Our country is so polarized. Politics have held us down. We are not moving forward. We are just held in one place. When it is not me, it shouldn't be you.
Yeah.
When it's not you, it shouldn't be me. That's the kind of mentality we run with. And the media now, that's where we come in to play a neutral role, a role that will educate the people on doing the right thing. But the media is divided. You got a bunch of people who have turned out to be political journalists now. Yeah, our party journalists, our journalists and our party. Come on. So as we draw closer to 9 o'clock, we will be playing host to Samuel Dean.
Yeah.
He's the head of NCD. He's going to be talking to us. So let's go for our first commercial commitment. When we come back, then we begin to talk about other issues. This is the Positive Show right here on Love FM 105.1. And Rufus Devon Cannon and Vanny Duclay, together we are here talking about those national issues that matters. So when we come back after our commercial commitment, we'll open the lines for a few minutes to get to hear what you have to say concerning the conversation we had concerning the fire issues around the place. All right? So let's get our commercial commitment for our partners.
Thank you, Liberia, for nominating your Heroes of Change. We received an amazing 1,916 nominations from across Liberia. Now, It's time to vote and support your heroes. Simply dial star 415 star your nominee code will hatch to vote twice daily. Voting is absolutely free. Remember, the first prize is 2 million Liberian dollars, second is 1 million Liberian dollars, and third is 500,000 Liberian dollars. Lone Star Cell MTN remains committed to touching lives and partnering with organizations to enable Liberia's progress.
MTN. Momona we say again. Y'all I want your mole cheese.
My people, I get good news. So enjoy the lowest cash out fees in Liberia with MTN mobile money. Only 2% fee will be charged on any transaction, whether big or small. Cash out today for just small from any of our 25,000 agents across Liberia. No one will grow on your feet for your own money business. MTN Momo makes it easy, fast, and secure just for you. Dial star 156 hatch or download the MTN Momo app today to cash out with MTN Momo for just 2% fees. Fast, easy, and secure.
Momo now we say again. Y'all I want your mole cheese. MTN.
Are you looking for a safe place to grow your savings or a reliable partner to support your business goals? At Modern Savings and Loans, we are more than just a microfinance institution. We are part of your financial journey. Modern Savings and Loans is a 100% Liberian-owned business providing the following services: savings and loans, Western Union, MoneyGram, mobile money, and RIA. We also do current account, individual and joint account, as well as business account. Whether you are an entrepreneur, a market woman, a student, or a salary earner, we provide flexible savings options, fast and reliable loans, and personalized financial savings just for you. We are located right in the Kailondo Plaza in Congo Town, Tottenham Boulevard. Our doors are always open to serve you with integrity, professionalism, and with a smile. Call us today on +231 880 200 600, +231 772 200 600, or +231 779 17417. Email us at modernsavingsloans@gmail.com or check out our website www.modernsavingsloans.com. Modern Savings and Loans is fully licensed and regulated. Your money is safe and your future is secure. Come grow with us. Come save with us. Come rise with Modern Savings and Loans. Come, let's grow together. Looking for perfect sparkle? Step into luxury at VIP Jewelry, located in the Kailondo Plaza, Congo Town, 540. We specialize in natural gold and high quality silver sets, guaranteed to shine for every occasion, from stunning wedding and engagement rings to elegant bracelets, chains, earrings, and nose rings for men and women. We've got you covered. Need a V-ring or custom chain set? VIP Jewelry is your one-stop sparkle store. Come visit us today at VIP Jewelry, Kailondo Plaza, right in the heart of Congo Town, 540. Call us today at +231 887 333 553. That's +231 887 333 553. VIP Jewelry, where every shines tells a story.
Okay, after the commercial commitment, we are right back. Of course, this time around, we're going to be talking about the NCD and other things that matters to the growth and development of that institution. We have our guests.
Yes, indeed. We have our guests, and a very good friend of the media. I'd like to say good morning to you, Samuel Churchill-Dane.
Thank you for having me.
And
Mhm.
how is the NCD?
Well, the NCD is okay. We're trying to rebrand things there, trying to make it national. As one of my colleagues would say, we're trying to take the Liberia out of Monrovia and, you know, decentralized NCD. Yeah.
You've been at the helm of power for the last, is it 1 year plus now?
I don't like the sound of the power thing. I've been
Helm of
I've
leadership.
been a surrogate
Okay.
for persons with disabilities for the
Okay.
past year and a half, I suppose.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so let's begin with the institution. I mean, how has it been? I mean, with your stewardship, your leadership over the course of your time there, how have you seen this is a community that you love and you're so passionate about in terms of seeing the growth and progress of your people. Tell me how has it been?
So first and foremost, for those of us that's listening in Radio Land and the fellow netizens in TV Land that don't know what the NCD is,
Okay.
I would like to first of all
Mm.
start by introducing what the NCD is.
Mm.
The NCD is the National Commissions on Disabilities, and it was established by an act of legislation in 2005. The mandate is simple. It's to provide for and protect the human rights of persons with disabilities. But it's not limited to that. It's also providing education for persons with disabilities, providing socioeconomic opportunities for persons with disabilities, providing employment for persons with disabilities, rehabilitation, health services for persons with disabilities. We have that statutory mandate, um, and we also have the mandate to provide accessibility standards and conduct census. You name it, that anything that has to do with disabilities is in our shop. Now there are duplications and uh, partners that we choose to work with. Some of them choose not to work with us, but it's okay. But we are the statutory body, SOAR, autonomous agency tax demanded to improve the socioeconomic welfare and well-being of persons with disabilities throughout the 15 political subdivision of the Republic of Liberia. That's our mandate.
Okay.
Being cognizant of the mandate, we've hit the ground running with a lot of innovation. We made a project on the ground called CADEL. And CADEL project is a coordinated action on disabilities in Liberia. And we have a lot of partners. The lead partner is IFO, sponsored by SIDA, Swedish International Development Agency. We have NUD as a partner. We have LLC, Liberia Liberal Congress. We have DKT. Ask me what that means. I don't know. And we have BSC. I think it's business something with this guy, William. Yeah. So, and then this project was a 5-year project. And the aim of this project was to provide a plethora of interventions for persons with disabilities. Key of that was TVET, and that was our forte. Although they had peer-to-peer, they had sexual reproductive health, they had community engagements, and of course startup kits room for a person with disabilities. But ours was TVET, in, vocational education for persons with disabilities, and we successfully led the cause to put 30 persons with disabilities in TVET institutions, who are, by the way, thriving now. And where they decided to work, where we decided to work, were booming, Lufa, Nimba, Monserrato, and Grambassa. So IFO is drawing down now. And since IFO is drawing down, we have decided that we are going to sustain the project. So we hit the ground running with a $200,000 grant from the government, PSI, and we decided that we're going to target 4 domains. And those 4 domains were education for persons with disabilities and children of persons with disabilities, agribusiness, livelihood skill training, and entrepreneurship. And we have successfully rolled that out in Moserado County already. And we have also successfully rolled it out in Lofa County. Now, the project is a 5-year project. But we piloting the project this year with 100 persons. So each of the counties that are listed, 5 counties, carry a little over 20 persons. I say a little over because we targeted 20, but we had to have some miscellaneous, and so forth and so on. So it's successful as far as we are concerned, and that's what I was talking about, taking Liberia out of Monrovia, because the first of its kind that we have decided to decentralize, because there are persons with disabilities in other counties and that need assistance too. Just because they're not on the street, it doesn't mean that they don't need assistance. And speaking of the street, we are making frantic efforts to also roll out a program to get children and persons with disability off the street. We did a research. Our social workers were there gathering samples. I think we have 500 samples of our respondents in the streets for questionnaires and all of that. We just have to analyze that data, and then we're going to come back with an intervention plan. To be able to curtail, the street begging. We cannot eliminate it completely, because even the Bible says that the poor will always be with us. I hear you professing Christ, so you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So you want a man that's not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, and so am I.
Thank you.
So and when Jesus Christ was on earth, that was his mission, to provide for the crippled, the deaf. He was healing the blind, and all of that. So as Christians, I think it's our mandate to follow tradition and complete what he started. So the National Commission on Disabilities, we have been running. Another intervention that we are proud to be a part of is this recent decent work for persons with disabilities.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Policy.
We'll get to that. The decent work policy. I know you've been fronting so much so to ensure that people living with disabilities can be included in our governance piece.
Yes.
But let's move on more to your economic empowerment grant that you just made mention of.
All right.
You are decentralizing.
Yes, sir.
Your first stop is in which county?
Our first stop was Moserado County.
Okay.
We have rolled out Moserado County already. We also rolled out Lofa County.
Okay.
We also rolled out Bon County. And next week, Monday and Tuesday, we're going to be rolling out Nima County.
Is it safe to say that the grant funding you got, the 200,000, is it enough to go across these different counties and ensure that the people actually benefit?
I'll be remiss if I don't say this. The actual project is a 5-year project, right? And it should reach 5,000 persons at the end. But what we're doing this year is like a pilot project. We're piloting the project as a litmus test to see how far we can push ourselves. And then if there's any gap, we do an analysis so that we can be able to, moving forward, do another SWOT analysis and do it smartly. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what's happening right now. But the overall grant, the overall intention is to reach 5,000 persons in the next 5 years. So if you didn't get this time around, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get at all. We're doing this, that's why I'm in the field. We're doing documentary, we're doing pictures, we're doing what lawyers will call the preponderance of the evidence to substantiate the claim that, persons with disabilities can do this. And, we're trying to graduate from the charitable model to the social model, which is simply teaching persons with disability to fish. Now, the whole advocacy right now is about small business. It's about self-sustainability. You understand? It's about the paradigm shift from the charitable model, from the health model to the social model. That once person with disability get this opportunity, this economic opportunity, that is the only disability equity that will graduate us to self-sustainability and self-reliance.
I want to get it straight. When you talk about economic empowerment,
Yeah.
it's a big space.
Yeah.
Are you taking the loan, the 200,000, like you said, power
It's a
project?
grant.
It's a grant.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you taking this money to put in the hands of people living with disabilities to say, go and do some business? Or are you investing in education, TVET, to say, go to school and get knowledge and get skills so that you too can contribute to society? Or are you, in a way, trying to say, this grant, 20% from Mofa, or maybe 20% from Bond County, we have this money. Tell us, what do you have? How can we, what exactly are you bringing so that we can invest? Is it that they're bringing their own ideas, or you already have a picture to say go to school, or Campbell gave you grant, start a small business? How is it like? Walk us through the steps on how you intend to empower your people.
So as community development takes, before we launched the program, we did social mapping.
Okay.
And of course, the people have to be a part of their development.
Okay.
And they have to be the one to tell you what they want to do.
Okay.
But besides that, you gotta go there and investigate. So we did all of that. We did the community mapping. We got to find out what they wanted to do. Some people said they wanted to go to school. Some people said, oh, we got children that are not in school. Some people say, oh, we got farms, but we want to step it up a notch and venture into the agribusiness. And it's a plethora of things. You can't imagine. We even paid 2-person school fees at Cutting University yesterday in Bond County. And so, we've captured a lot of children with disabilities throughout the length and breadth of the country who otherwise will not be able to go to school, deaf and blind, because at the end of the day, most of the time persons will usually prefer their so-called normal children to go to school because they're not cognizant to the fact that if you educate a person with disability, they can excel. So we've been playing quadruple roles, we've been educating, we've been, scouting and all of that. And one of the things that we did too was supply schools, like the special schools, like the school for the deaf in Bond County was supplied, the school for the blind and deaf in Lofa County, they were supplied with rice school materials, sanitation materials, and so forth and so on. So, we are intentionally targeting the A and the E in the arrest agenda, specifically Pillar 6, which speaks to human capital development. And so we have the agribusiness thing going on. We have the educational thing going on. We have the entrepreneurship thing going on. And then we still have education, right? Entrepreneur, livelihood, and agribusiness. So those are the 4 domain or pillar, if you may, that we're venturing into. And as far as I'm concerned, we'll get some success, because it's not that we're going to give them the money and leave them, to their own solution. We're going to monitor and evaluate them, because, like I said, it's a pilot project. They want to see what works and what doesn't, because we have to evidently roll it out to other people. We cannot continue to, just give a certain amount of persons. We got to roll it out until everybody feels, rescued, in our country. Yeah.
So, as a mother body of persons living with disability, there are other institutions that cover persons living with disability in the country.
I'm sorry if I can kindly interject. It's just person with disabilities. Person living is attributed to persons living with HIV and AIDS.
Okay.
So it's just persons with
disability.
disabilities. Yes.
What's your relationship with those institutions?
Well, we have a lot of institutions that that have disability in the shop, but quite honestly, some of those institutions are not collaborating with us. A key of them is the gender ministry, and I'm going to be honest, because the first time we went to the cabinet meeting, the president stressed collaboration and coordination, but we got to find out that gender ministry, when they roll out the street child project, they never call us for us to work in collaboration. But if you look at the street children, I'm going to do a Socratic, and any of you guys can answer me. Who are mostly on the street? Is it children that has parents with disabilities? So Socratic. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, it could be hypothetical too. You understand what I mean? So, but they did not consider that. So we wrote them and we told them. So for me coming down to speak out is because we have exhausted all administrative remedies. In fact, I even talked to Curtis Dollar yesterday about it, and I told him, and he said, "Well, it's not in my shop, but I'm going to talk to them." And it's very important that we work in collaboration and cooperation, because it's the social protection ambit that is in the shop have to do with disabilities, and we have to work together because we have the data, we have the mandate, the constitutional mandate, so they have to work with us. You understand what I'm saying? They don't have to like us as individuals, you know what I mean? Because in this world, everybody won't like you, but that's our work. That's the president wants us to work together so that we can promote the arrest agenda for what? Inclusive development. I don't know whether you know that inclusivity in the inclusive development was the one that inspired the AAID. Before it was just the arrest agenda, remember? But now there's the arrest agenda for inclusive development, giving the president a chance to internalize what he promoted out there when he campaigned. You know, remember he promoted diversity, and a lot of the diversity that he promoted mixed 11% of women, you know, a cabinet, elected, and then 30% are cabinet members, and you know we have a plethora of persons with disabilities. I've discovered 7 appointed persons with disabilities now that works in this government. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to work together, you know, as a team. You understand what I mean? Another entity that we have had problems with in the past is the Ministry of Education, Special Education Division. The Special Education Division is ran by one. Her name will come to me, Gao, Teresa Gao, and she doesn't relate to us. The Minister of Education. One time I went to this a meeting at the Executive Mansion. She said that she told this lady to collaborate with us and even make the NCD a consultant in this World Bank SL project. Okay, the point is simple, because like a lot of places are not accessible for persons with disabilities, and people usually build by world-class standard. But we were lucky to find one of the buildings that the World Bank built in Bone County, and it was accessible to the letter. I was so excited. You understand what I'm saying? And we just want to make sure that places, because the education minister is so adamant and intentional about inclusive education. You understand? So we just wanted to be a consultant, free consultants. We don't want money. We want to make sure that we follow them around, to go around and see if, you know, places are retrofitted and done the right way. A lot of time people try to retrofit things and they don't do it the right way. Another people who have overlooked our office is the University of Liberia, and much more to their own, you know, how do I call it? They will get to me. But what they did was they came to us, and the University of Liberia said they wanted to have an inclusive education conference, right? When they came to us, we said, yeah, sure, no problem. You know what I mean? And then we told them that, you know, especially the blind don't have the opportunity to go to ministry, to go to the UL, and the deaf. And they left us. And next thing you know, they started enrolling blind students in the University of Liberia, which is a good thing, by the way. You understand what I'm saying? But at least work with your partners, you know, who gave you the idea, and so that it can be a holistic thing. If we're going to get credit, we got to get credit for the whole government, right? And it's very important that you work with the organization that's charged with the mandate of improving the social economic well-being of persons with disabilities. We have also had problems with our civil society counterpart, but that is expected because, you know, they're there to put our feet to the fire. You know what I mean? Even though we are all persons with disabilities, but that is resolved now, and we're going to work together in collaboration and cooperation. But it's just because of the mandate. The problem comes from the mandate. A lot of people have not been forthcoming with giving the National Commission on Disability a deserving mandate. If you look at the act that established the National Commission on Disabilities, Section 2, Section 4, and Section 6 gave us the statutory mandate for education in Liberia. In fact, Section 6 specifically speaks to the Ministry of Education getting to be reformed. In a sense where it needs to be amended. The act that established the Ministry of Education needs to be amended to give room for a Bureau of Special Education. And that Bureau of Special Education should be headed by a person with disabilities. Okay? And that person should be an assistant minister. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't think that we're doing...
Which act is that?
The act that established the National Commissions on Disabilities in 2005. So after that, this assistant minister should have 3 directors: a physically challenged, a visual disability, and a deaf. Those 3 directors should make room for curriculums. You understand what I mean? That will be able to spread across persons with disabilities. As of now, the government doesn't have special schools in all the counties. It is our ambition that on our watch, the special schools will be established in each county, deaf school and blind school, because there has to be exclusive school before there be inclusive school. So persons with disabilities, and I'm coming, especially the blind and deaf, have to learn the Braille and the sign language. For far too long, these people have been institutionalized in schools. You know what I mean? And we're trying to follow institutionalization now. We're trying to take the family approach so that person with disabilities can stay with their family, members, and be able at the same time to go to school. You understand what I mean? So it makes them closer to home. Maybe they get on campus for maybe a week, and the weekend and spend the time with their family, help them around the house or whatever, and so forth and so on. So it's one of the ambitions that we're trying to have. We've been writing UNICEF, UN Women, and so forth and so on, to do a map-up exercise of the children with disabilities that are, languaging in throughout the length and breadth of Liberia, that we need to harness and bring them to get educated. If you know, if you they don't take a rocket scientist to tell that once a person with disability is given the requisite tool of education, they can excel.
I mean, you talk about collaboration, and on the strength of what Rufus was asking you about how you're working along with other institutions, and you said you have been sidelined by the University of Liberia, and you also been sidelined by the Ministry of Education. And
the Ministry of Gender. Let me tell you one more last thing. The Ministry of Gender, after they sidelined us with the Street Child Project, they came up with another project called Save the Future. They wrote us. When they wrote us, we said, yes, we would love to collaborate. It's very important. We discussed. The next step was to meet with NASCOP so that we can be able to talk about how we can harness those of us that pay taxes money to be able to give something like a social welfare to activate the social welfare component of the Ministry of the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation. That was the next meeting. Next thing you know, I read through a chat room that they were launching this project with the NCD, with NUD, and with some other people who they decided that social protection experts or whatever. But my thing is, you don't do things like that. You understand what I mean? If you want for us to work together, you send us an official letter, the same way you send us an official letter that we should work together. So we knew nothing about the project being launched. So we wrote the ministry and we told them, and they never responded to us. They went ahead and they launched the project from a chat room. Is that a means of communication through a chat room, or should it be? How do you call it? Shouldn't it be a formal communication? You understand? If you really want a partnership,
okay,
to
that partnership, I'm concerned about how united are you? I mean, people with disability in Liberia. It's a very big community, and you have segments and splinters of different groups. How the commission, as a statutory institution, covered with responsibility and budgetary support, is working to bring other institutions together and create that unity Because mind you, if you are together, if you have one voice, if you are united, the point where people begin to sideline you, it will be very, if not impossible, will be very hard to hold.
Mhm.
Is it that the other groups that these people find pleasure working with, as opposed to the NCD? I want you to walk us through the unity in the community before we talk about the issue of sidelining your institution.
Okay.
Are you very united? Is it everything?
Okay. So let
Is
me
everything on course?
let me tell you something about person with disabilities.
Mm.
Person with disabilities are Liberians. They are humans.
Okay.
The same way you see we got plural opposition parties, the same way that you see that politics is the call of the day. Sometimes dirty politics. Persons with disabilities too play politics, and the National Commission on Disability that you see is an envious slot. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody feel that they're qualified for the post. You understand? Even some of the past leaders still trying to galvanize people, to rebel and so forth and so on. You understand what I'm saying? So, will there be unity in the disability community? Yes, there will be unity. Because before I became appointed, this is an old age problem. Before I became appointed, I had the opportunity to visit the second lady, when she used to have her programs. And my message to her was always peace and uniting the community. So even when we had our problems, the commission in Newark had their problems. The second lady, she jokingly told me, "Say, my man, you're gonna have to work with Newark." She said, "You used to be advising me, but I'm a time for you to take your own advice." And I said, "Okay." So even right now, Newark, we talked with the government, and the government had given them a home, so they don't have to pay rent anymore. You know what I mean? Like when they were trying to get a place, struggling to get a place. Garaba to mine, is my brother, from the GSA. And he called me and he said, "Look, I got these disabled guys who claim that they're head of civil society and so forth and so on in your place. What is the rapport you have with them?" I told him, I was like, we are all persons with disabilities. You understand what I'm saying? And we cannot bring them to public disrepute over building, because even if you go to the United States, a lot of organization of disabilities is run by federal grant. You understand what I'm saying? Where they are opposing or not. And you understand? So I told him, I said, "We got to give them a place." And after they got that place, we made sure that we gave them a purse for them to be able to renovate the place. You understand what I mean? So we're working in collaboration and cooperation, and we're fighting to unite the community, and the community will be united on our watch. But this unity of the community did not come about under the regime of Samuel Dean. It's an old age problem, and we don't think it's good, because united we stand. In union strong, success is sure. So we're going to keep pushing that. That's even the reason why we're voicing these things out. You understand? Other people will not come on proper platforms to say this, right? But I'm saying it because I want it to stop. I believe that if we work in unison, this government can succeed. We shouldn't be splinter groups. The war is long over. We're not factions. We are one. We want one goal, and that goal is for our government to succeed. So we have to work together to make that possible.
Since you took your takeover as head of the NCD, what has been your wish in terms of uniting all of the pocket institutions in the covered persons with
disabilities?
disabilities?
We've been trying. Trust me, I've survived 2 coups now, and I mean that quite literally. So, somebody who has a little bit of education, and I'll say a little bit of education because education is a lifelong process. When we heard about these, how do I call it, disagreements, we call our people to the table. I did a subject called conflict resolution. I think I remember 1 or 2 of it, and we always try to meet a compromise. You understand what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's just disinformation and misinformation. You understand? And they see, because quite honestly, a lot of our people depends on secondhand information. So I'll just give this one instant. When I first became head of the National Commission on Disability, the past director, she told a misinformation that she left $300,000 in the bank account. I didn't remember that. So Clarence called me, and I told Clarence, look, you got to call so we can address this, because I overlooked it. But guess what? I went to a program at the Group of 77, and if it's not because of my brother here, I would have been mocked to death, because people actually believe that $300,000 were left in the account and I stole it. You understand? They attacked me, like literally, quite literally attacked me. And the guy had to rush me out of there, put me in the car, and we fled the scene. You understand what I mean? So most of the time, disinformation and misinformation is given. And when these conflicts come out, we call our people together and we try to speak to them and we concertize them and they get to understand. But so far, so good. I think we are on course now and we are doing right, because even when we go to the counties, we make sure to prioritize the coordinators of NURB. In fact, we give them more opportunity to scout people than our own coordinator. If you go places like Nima, for example, Nelly is the one that does everything. If you go places like Lufa, Jamabala from NURB, she does everything. So we're working together in collaboration. In yesteryears, I remember when I worked with the Group of 77, and I went to the few counties. I'm not saying it to bring out anything, but I'm just saying that things are improving. I want to distribute some wheelchairs, right? And when I went to a few counties, people were select from other organizations, because they got different disability organizations. The NCD, which is the statutory body, then you have the NURB, then you have of course, you have the Group of 77, you have a lot of them. So I was working with the Group of 77 at the time. I got appointed by the vice president to be assistant director for physically challenged, because of the work that I did with the wheelchair thing. So I'm going to go and do some wheelchair distribution. So some organizations there, I'm not going to call their name now because, I don't want no rift or whatever, said that, look, we can't work with you. Our director said we can't work with you because you're from Group of 77. But now it doesn't work that way. Now when we go to do the economic empowerment, everybody is working with us. You understand what I'm trying to say? But it's not because of the money, but it's because people getting to understand now who this Samuel Dean guy is. You understand? And not listening to other people, but they're trying to find out for themselves. Yes. So there's a cohesion now that is forming. In fact, we're even having the conversations about having people, person with disability in the house to speak on our behalf. We start having that conversation about uniting and, going to a certain district or certain county or whatever and making sure that, we have somebody at the national legislature to speak for us.
So what is that strategy you've put in place since you took over in terms of information dissemination? Because mind you, like you talk about misinformation and disinformation, information is as important as food, water, shelter, and medication.
Sure.
So when the information is timely, it meets the needs of the people.
Sure.
So what is that strategy you've put in place to pass on information to the various institutions that cover people with disability?
Okay, so first of all, we're transparent with everything. Whenever anything come up, we call our DPOs, because we got 78 to 80 DPOs on our watch. We call them and tell them everything that happens. We account for every dime that the government gives. You understand? So that, I think that was what we were lacking before, and now we're doing that. We're trying to be more transparent and accountable, so that our people cannot have the information from somebody else. We give it to them ourselves in real time. But is it okay if we can talk about something else for now? I wanted to talk about the International Week of the Deaf. Tomorrow is the International Week of the Deaf, and it is it's a project geared towards promoting the deaf human rights and sign language.
Okay.
Yeah, because you get to find out that even today I don't have a sign language interpreter yet. But I had gotten in contact with a sign language interpreter to come here and be here with me so that he can interpret this program. but I don't have him here today. Anyways, in any event, sign language and sign language interpreting is very key in our dispensation. A lot of times, because persons with disabilities cannot hear what is going on, especially in the courts, especially with the hospitals, especially with the police station, or public places as a whole, schools and all of that. So it makes them to feel excluded. But we need to have an inclusive government. We need to internalize the inclusivity in the arrest agenda of inclusive development. So that is the reason why we're going to be having the International Week of the Deaf tomorrow. We couldn't celebrate the whole week because the week is from the 22nd to the 28th. So because of financial constraints, we said we're still going to have an awareness program tomorrow at the offices of the National Commission on Disabilities. And we wanted to appeal to the speaker in this public manner to be a guest speaker. Because as of late, the speaker has made a lot of policy statements favorable to persons with disabilities. I remember him saying one time, calling for a need of a deaf institution, a deaf institution for sign language, to teach sign language, so that we can have more sign language interpreters around the country. You'd be surprised that the only deaf school in Vanjima is run by a deaf guy and his little daughter, who's supposed to be in school herself, but she has to serve as a sign language interpreter.
Wow.
I'm very serious. I wish I had brought them in the studio. Her name is Amara, forgot her name, but we will be honoring them tomorrow. You understand what I'm saying? So persons with disabilities are resourceful, especially deaf people. We just have to give them the opportunity. That is why I believe that legislative projects should lean towards building special schools for persons with disabilities. Going at the days of Palawa House and IOC and all that kind of stuff. We need our people to get educated so that they can be on par with their non-disabled peers, so that they can live in the Liberia, for all Liberians, to quote the president. You understand what I'm saying? And to quote the president again, other countries, people finding solution to problems while we are finding problems to solution. I met a legislature in Nima County, representative of District 8 to be precise, and I asked him about adding my voice to the many voices to repair the elevator at the House of Legislature. You know what that guy told me? He asked me, a Socratic, he's like, you guys, person with disability, want to be beggars or politician? They want to take our job? You understand? Wow. So person with disability are still subjugated to sanction. No, it didn't come from the US. It's from here. Social sanction stigma. So for an educated person as a legislature, who's supposed to be pushing laws to improve the socio-economic well-being, especially for the downtrodden, we say that. But then objectively, we got to understand that the speaker has made room for persons with disabilities, especially the deaf, to be able to understand what goes on in sessions. So you have deaf sign language interpreters to be a plenary, and you understand what I'm saying? And so that's why we're appealing to him, because we know that he have even championed our cause in the past. He have championed a bill to repeal the act that established the National Commission on Disabilities, so that it can be a full-fledged commission, so that I could be called like the chair. But for now, I'm only the executive director. Then there should be an executive director, headed by a lot of different chairs, like the Land Authority is, stuff like that. He sponsored that bill, and it passed the lower house, but it couldn't pass the upper house because maybe there were some guys who like mine of the guy from District 8 in Nima County. So we have to.
That's a very strong one. But who can get that lawmaker from District 8? Because it's a very strong comment. And,
yes.
And like you said, primarily his role is to make laws. That will be in the interest of the people.
Yeah.
We hope what you are saying is exactly what you are actually quoting him.
I'm serious. The superintendent for Nima County was there.
Okay,
And she even tried to tell him, don't say that to them.
we'll try to verify. But something I want to bring.
You know what the irony here is?
No.
And I'm cutting you off. I don't want to let it off my chest. This guy is the head of the Nima County caucus.
So it's a very strong allegation. I hope he's listening. I hope somebody from his office is listening to call in and make that clarity, because Dane is a stakeholder in our country, especially when it comes to people with disabilities. But quickly, primarily, your role at the NCD is to ensure that people are off the streets, people with disabilities, and people are taken into homes, and some are into schools.
Yes.
With that core mandate.
Yes.
How much or how far have we gone in terms of achieving taking people off the streets? Because if we look downtown Monrovia, we still see people with disabilities, languishing along the streets, begging, and getting them into schools. Many of our schools are not disabled friendly. We don't see braille and different, disabled, friendly activities at our schools.
Yeah.
How have you gone in terms of achieving that core mandate of getting people off the streets, getting them into homes, getting them into schools, when we still see them, in the streets? Just give us what exactly.
So Rome wasn't building one day. We're negotiating with the government, and I think that you know that the government as a whole is trying to do that. If you've been following the second lady, which is Group of 7, so I know you're asking specifically for the commission, but working collectively as a government, she has secured 10 acres of land to do just that, to build homes, in Broadville for persons with disabilities, schools, and hospital. We too on this side have an expensive objective to do the same. In fact, we'll even start with our headquarters. I'm going to build our own headquarters, because for now we're renting a shabby shop with 4 bedrooms and with 44 employees. The government paid $25,000. The government had paid almost $500,000 for that place.
Wow.
We are calling on Lace, my own brother at Lace, to at least make this a legislative project or government project to build us a headquarters of vocational rehabilitation center. If we get person with disability off the street, we don't only want them to be in homes. We want them to be at a center where they can learn skills, livelihood skills for employability, to be successful, to contribute to the formal sector.
You've had a big support. What are you doing with the meager resources? Getting some of them, if not all, off the street.
We're trying. With this little resource that we have, we target like 100 persons, like I said. In the long run, we're going to target at least 5,000 persons.
So do you have 100 people with disabilities off the streets now?
Yeah, exactly. We've empowered 100 persons with disability plus now. Some of them were on the street. Not everybody on the street. Now, mind you, just because somebody with disability not on the street doesn't mean they don't need help. You understand what I'm saying? Some people will not go on the street. But when you go to the houses, the roof is leaking. And you understand? They don't have businesses. And you understand what I'm saying? So, for example, we got somebody the last time that we had to take from JFK because she was on the street and she broke her leg. And this lady started crying that she would not leave JFK because at least she gets to eat 3 times a day and she gets to sleep well. So we pet her, took her to her place, gave her a bag of rice, gave her some money to maintain until her leg is better. And then the social worker came back to me and told me to say, look, the reason why this lady is on the street is because she's downtrodden and she lives in poverty. So we have to do something about her. So we're going to do something about her. We're going to build her a little kitchen, put some dry goods in it. You understand what I'm saying? And make sure that we teach her business management. And we're going to do that for a plethora of disabled people, one at a time, until we can get all of them off the street. Because trust me, my brother, I don't sleep in the night. You know why I don't sleep? Because 2 o'clock I wake up. And the question that journalists ask in the studio that you're asking me now, what are we doing to get person with disability off the street? I think some of the things that we're doing is the awareness that we're carrying on right now. It's very important. And I hope the Ministry of Finance is listening. Because the last time when I asked Honorable Kafouan about augmenting our budget so that we can build homes and get person with disability off the street and give them skills. He told us that the budget that we have is only to run the NCD. So if the budget that we have is only to run the NCD, who's going to take care of our people?
I think you are having a very big gap because if you try to read the 2022 census report, the policy brief on people with disabilities says in Liberia will have 534,316 people living with functional disability.
Okay.
And if you have taken only 100 people off the streets of that number, it tells me that is it that you are not well supported? Is it that you are not giving the space to achieve? Because 100 out of 500,000 is a very big gap. It's a call for concern.
Yeah, so we have other ambitions. Like, for example, we're talking about this National Disability Equity Fund. You understand what I'm saying? The National Disability Equity Fund, we can use that to harness support from concessionaires and multinationals and big businesses. There's a lot of leverages that the government gave, and we just got to continue to talk about it. And you as our partners got to continue to push it. The media has to push it. You see, with the LRA, it has a charitable law. It says that businesses, big businesses that pay taxes to the government, can give a charitable organization of their choice 15% of the government's taxes. I don't think you hear me though. I don't think you hear me though. And I've been saying this thing. I've been saying that the government cannot do all. You understand what I'm saying? The government have $800 million budget, barely have $1 billion budget. But how about the likes of the ArcelorMittal Steel of this world that has just admitted that they didn't build a $1.5 billion plant? It was rather $230 billion plant. What about Bay Mountain that extracted over $800 million of gold from our country last year, leaving persons with disability impoverished and on the street? What about NMG Gold that ripped millions of dollars and threw cyanide in the rivers and destroy the private parts of our citizens? We sit on one of the world's richest gold deposits. We're the 66th country in the world with gold deposit, yet our people languish in poverty. We need to tap into those resources. That is why in the new bill that we're writing, we have something there called the Disability Equity Fund. And the media should be our friends. We're not asking for the government's 3%. No. We're not asking for county development funds. No. What we're asking for is corporate social responsibility. If you look at countries like Canada or South Africa, they get their fair share of corporate social responsibility from the lack of ArcelorMittal Steel. But ArcelorMittal Steel had chosen with deliberate indifference to ignore the plight of persons with disabilities while amassing billions of dollars of our wealth. So these are the kind of direction that we should look into. We cannot continue to blame the government for underfunding because the government has put us in a position for us to be able to help ourselves. And with the ABC and 1, 2, 3 that we know, we have to advocate. Mind you, the NCD is an autonomous body that is supposed to advocate for the social welfare and the social well-being of persons with disability. It didn't say we should depend on the government and cry out there the government not giving us money. It said we should be innovative and make sure we help the government to improve the living standard of persons with disability.
We should be innovative and help the government improve the living standards of people living with disability. He's Mr. Samuel Dane. He's the head of NCD, talking to us this morning, expanding our knowledge on what is unfolding there at the NCD. We get our commercial commitment. When we come back, we open the lines so that you weigh in. You have the questions to ask the questions. If you have a point to make, you can also do so within the space of time. So let's go for our commercial commitment. To be right back. This is The Positive Show. Barney Dukley, Rufus Devon Cannon presentation right here.
Thank you, Liberia, for nominating your Heroes of Change. We received an amazing 1,916 nominations from across Liberia. Now, it's time to vote and support your heroes. Simply dial *415* your nominee code or hash to vote twice daily. Voting is absolutely free. Remember, the first prize is $2 million Liberian dollars, second is $1 million Liberian dollars, and third is 500,000 Liberian dollars. Lone Star Cell MTN remains committed to touching lives and partnering with organizations to enable Liberia's progress.
MTN.
Okay, after that commercial commitment, the lines are now open 0887 105 105 0778 665 073 are the numbers to call this morning. Mr. Dean is here. You can speak to him on those issues that you have burning your chest concerning the NCD, and he will respond adequately. 0887 105 105 0887 105 105 0887 105 105 0778 665 073 are the numbers to call this morning to form part of the Positive Show. We are playing host to Mr. Samuel Dean. He's the head of the NCD, of course.
Yeah. So while we wait for calls to come in, I'm just concerned. I like the way Dane spoke passionately. I mean, he's a very passionate person when it comes to people with disability. You have been in the position. You've made different travels. Outside the country. How have you been able to network with other people to attract support or maybe other benefits for your people?
Okay, so we when we traveled to the U.S. to the Conference on State Party, we had the opportunity to network with other organizations that are prepared and willing to supply us with assistive technology devices, specifically specialized wheelchairs for those reeling from developmental disabilities. All we have to do now is just raise the money for the shipment. We also have the opportunity to get a plethora of other things like hospital beds, crutches, walkers, wheelchairs, and it's basically hospital supplies for rural hospitals around the country and persons with disabilities. So all we need to do now is just get the money for us to be able to ship those things. That was one of the things that I did. But besides that, there were a lot of other network that we did. Say, for example, we went to the Global Disability Summit in Germany that Liberia signed the Alma-Berlin Declaration. And you know that the Alma-Berlin Declaration says that 15% of international development should go to persons with disabilities. So take, for example, the $490 million that was given to the government of Liberia.
Say that again?
$490 million.
Well, you said the
Alma-Berlin contract.
Okay.
Famously have a slogan called 15% for 15%.
Okay.
Because there are 15% of the world population are persons with disabilities. Therefore, international development should allocate 15% of resources for persons with disabilities. You got it now?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, with the $490 million that were given to the government by the World Bank for infrastructure development, 15% of that money should go to persons with disabilities. So that's about $73 million, right? Don't you think that $73 million is enough to get persons with disability off the street into their own homes, with their own small businesses and all of that? It's just hypothetical. So yeah, so those are the kind of informations that we brought home. But now one of the things that we championed when we went to the UN Conference on State Party, we tried to tell international community that they should be adamant and they should be intentional about how much money goes to persons with disability. You understand what I'm saying? So for example, if they're giving money for international development, they should say such and such is for disability. They don't say that. They're not straightforward about that. And there's this other thing where they always talk about women participating in politics, but they don't give women money. If you follow my page, you'll see that I told them that it's a more hypocritical rhetoric for now, because it takes money to run election. You understand what I'm saying? You can't give your thank you when the people cry in so doing. I think you got my drift.
Mhm.
So if you go to a fire victim, for example, we have a flood victim now in Countersville. One of our people just called me and said that the whole place got flooded, all the things got damaged. As a politician, you're going to go counsel the people. You can't go there to tell them and say, "Oh, my people, you're sorry."
In so doing,
You got to leave a little back or red, and and maybe some mattresses and all that kind of thing. And that money.
Mhm.
So we tell them, we say, yes, yeah, we agree. You say in Article 27 or whatever that there should be equal participation in politics. But you guys also adding small money there. And you understand? You can't say women might be a part of politics, especially indigenous women, and you don't get any no money. There are three barriers to political participation for persons with disabilities: education, money, and stigmatization. Even with all your money, you can still be stigmatized. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, but the problem is, at least if you got money, you can be able to, even if that, to truck people, because trucking is not illegal. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying it because most people do it. You understand? It's just that people don't talk about it, but most people do it. Most people truck people, and it's not free. You understand? Most people truck people. So that calls for money. If you say you want a woman with disability or a person with disability to be in the house, you gotta be willing to give them money so that they can be able to meet these interventions. You know?
Mr. Tim, time is fast spent. You want to expand more on issues surrounding your office and those things that matters nationally. Is there any other thing that you want to touch that we did not throw light on before we take leave of you?
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to say that the Cadell project that was sponsored by CEDA, Swedish Development, Swedish International Development, is drawing down now, and I just wanted to say that we are going to be leading it now. We're going to be leading sustainability, and we also going to be highly scouting for somebody to serve as the disability focal person for the roadmap, the decent work roadmap have been rolled out. Decent work be policy. Right now, we're scouting for a competent person who will serve in the office of the labor ministry, so that they can be able to scout other person with disability, so that we can have a focal person in each ministry. Because the act that established the National Commission on Disability, Section 5 says that for every 100 person working in an entity, 4% should be person with disabilities. We've written the UNFPA for us to be able to do a map up exercise of all employment entities to make sure we find out which are the people with disability and where the gap exists. We can, make a passionate appeal for them to be able to incorporate person with disability for economic empowerment. That is a way to get them off the streets. Because a lot of persons with disability that are on the street have degrees, believe it or not. If you interview them, you get to find out they have degrees, but they don't have employment. So we need to work hard towards providing employment for them. When we talk to most of the ministries and agencies about employment for persons with disabilities, they say, "Oh, because we don't have money in the budget." You understand what I'm saying? So we have to work towards prioritizing persons with disabilities throughout the all facets of government. Because a person with disability too are humans. And the president, couldn't have said it better than the end goal is to make Liberia a Liberia for all Liberians.
Any parting comment?
Yeah, I just would like to reiterate that tomorrow we're going to be celebrating the International Week of the Deaf at the National Commission on Disability headquarters. The media is invited. We're going to be promoting deaf rights. And also, I send a special appeal to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Richard Coon, to be our guest speaker, because he have been one of the persons in the legislature that have championed our cause, and we believe that he could be a face of disability.
Yeah, we want to say thank you, Mr. Dave, for coming. Honor our invitation. We know doing radio in the morning is quite cost intensive, but you were able to brace the time and the different schedules to make this time. We appreciate you a whole lot, and we'd like to say thank you for listening as well. Thank you with us for the privilege of this opportunity. We meet again.
In union, strong souls as a show with God above our rights to prove over or prevail. With hearts and hands, our country cause defending. We meet the foe with valor unpretending. Like I always say to you, two things in this life you always be remembered for: the problems you create and the problems you solve. And we must take responsibility of two things in our life: our fortune and that of our misfortune. Vanny Dukley was here. My name is Rufus Divine Cannon. To talk to you on the flip side, 2 o'clock this afternoon for the afternoon conversation. Keep the peace and play safe.